Hello, so as many of you are aware, the FF7 Rebirth demo came out. So if you haven't seen already, then I would highly recommend to check it out because I don't want you to watch this video and then be spoiled about what actually happens in the demo yourself. So if you want to, I'll leave an icon card. I did a playthrough, I released it recently, you can check that out. If not, play it for yourself because to actually get your hands on it, then it feels so much different to actually watching it. So I'd definitely check it out if you can. Go to that video, then watch this video, so then you're not spoiling yourself. But if you're still here, then I'm going to give you 3 seconds. So 3, 2, and 1. Right, so if you're still here, then of course we'll just get into the video. Because there's a lot that I want to talk about in today's video, solely about how amazing the demo is, because we've been waiting for this demo for literal years, ever since the remake came out, and it really does live up to its expectations. So behind me, you'll see is the footage from the video that I made, so if you do want to check it out, of course it's there, and check out the icon card that I put up before. I'll leave a link to it in the description. When we first enter the game, we actually start off as Sephiroth, which is something that they kind of teased it a little bit inside the trailers, but I feel like they could have done it a little bit better because we pretty much just were thrown in, and there was no kind of hints like they usually do. Because they usually put, like, on the right hand side, they usually put like hints on how to control the character. But they never actually did that, so we kind of just were thrown into the battle, not knowing what to do. And you can see behind me that I was just pretty much mashing square. I was just attacking the enemy, and only after a few minutes I actually found out how the triangle abilities worked. And even now, I'm still confused on how to get certain ones, and what Sword Dance does, what Telic Fury does. I'm not sure what they do. So they need to kind of go in depth of what each one does. But I'm sure we'll find out how, like, over time. But to be fair, everything looked really smooth, even at the start of it. All of his abilities, once you actually worked them together, everything seemed smooth, nothing really clashed, and it was really nice to just play as it. But next, the absolute beauty of the scenery. So when we first enter Nibelheim, you can see the town, and I was playing in performance mode, and you have got the option to play in quality, but you only play 4K in 30 FPS. So I would prefer to do 1080 in 60 just to get a bit smoother and a smoother video, of course. But that just determines what kind of playstyle you want. Do you want it to look amazing, or do you want it to still look amazing, just be a bit smoother and a little bit less quality? So because I make the videos, I prefer to have the frames rather than the quality, which YouTube would compress anyway. Next thing, so later on in the game, once we leave Nibelheim and once we've walked through the mountain a little bit, we come across our first enemy with Cloud. So now we actually get to control Cloud in the party, which is nice. And his combat is honestly, it's so much cleaner than the remakes, because his aerial combat, so now if you dodge and press square, you're going to throw blade beams at aerial enemies or even just distant enemies. If you dodge and hold square, you'll charge towards them, basically doing a teleport, which can easily close the distance between you and your opponent. So aerial enemies, you dodge and then hold square, you'll fly up to them. You can also do a triple slash, which is one of your ATB abilities, and you'll teleport up to the enemy and then do your slashes there. So the aerial combat is so nice, especially compared to remakes where if you were fighting drakes, for example, and you went up into the air, instantly they would pretty much do a wind wall, knock you back down and stun you. And it was so disappointing because there were so many aerial enemies, like the heli troopers as well, so they would just cast fire on you when you went to attack them in the air. And especially with the ATB system and how it worked, it kind of made the battle so stale because you were waiting for your ATB to charge just so you could cast a fire spell. And there was a lot of times where you just couldn't do anything because you couldn't attack the aerial enemies. But Rebirth has really worked on that, and it's something that we'd really like to see. And it's what they did in the remake DLC of Intermission with Yuffie. And that really put a standpoint of like what the aerial combat should have been. Because Yuffie's combos and how she worked, like she could throw a shuriken, teleport to a shuriken, and then do a combo. and then leave the shuriken there, change ninjutsu, and then carry on exploiting the weaknesses. And it was so nice to just play as that, and Rebirth really does live up to the expectation that was required by its players. So that is one of the best things that I really noticed about the Cloud's combat. But later on, just a bit after that, we actually get introduced to Sephiroth's synergy skills and abilities, because then Sephiroth joins our party, and then we get to control Cloud and Sephiroth. This also lets us get a bit more into details about how Sephiroth actually works, and like I said before, I still don't really understand it, but he has got good abilities. His ATB abilities, so Zanshin and Hell's Gate, those are really nice. They look good, however, they don't seem to do as much damage. So I'm still kind of working out what their purpose is. But we'll probably find that out maybe later on if we actually get to control them again, which I hope we do, because it's kind of like, it's really just interesting to play as your biggest enemy. So hopefully we can get to control them in the future as well. But like I was saying, synergy skills. So these skills require no ATB, and they have so much potential, because if you use Sephiroth, you can do your, I think it's some kind of triple slash with it, I can't remember its exact name, and which does damage. With Cloud, he can do a kind of counter fire, which will counter against ranged attacks, and when he's in Punisher mode, he can counter against physical attacks, which gives him a lot of diversity with his playstyle, as well as one of his other abilities with Sephiroth, and that does a lot of stagger damage, which is pretty much exactly like his focus thrust. However, it doesn't use ATB and does a little bit less of stagger. But if you've not got the ATB there, you can always use that skill, and then you can get that done like pretty much straight away. So then when the enemy is pressured, you don't have to wait till the ATB charges, and then it gets unpressured, and then you've missed your opportunity to stagger the enemy, which is really nice. A little later on, in the first boss battle of the game against the Materia Keeper or the Materia Guardian, I'm not too sure which one it is, near the end of that, you actually get to use your synergy ability, which uses these little charges underneath your ATB gauge. Every time you use an ATB actual slot on, say, Braver, for example, you'll get an extra little charge which you can use toward your abilities. Now, the first time that we used it, it was 3 charges for Cloud and Sephiroth, which let us use double helix, which in the move itself, it looks amazing. Its damage was really good. It did really good stagger damage. It actually staggered the boss for us, and then we did a final sweep with the double helix move, and pretty much just almost wiped it out. We just had to finish it off with a few more attacks, and the move itself looked really good. And I can't wait to synergize with other party members. So for example, I've seen where Cloud and Kate Sith will use a synergy ability. Cloud will give Kate Sith the Buster Sword, and then Kate Sith will kind of do a braver attack, but insane damage. So the amount of detail that they put into every character, and the amount of combinations that you could properly do, because say there's 7 characters that you can only use 3 at a time, but if you think one character can synergize with every other character, so the 7 different other players, you've got so many different combinations, whatever 7 like factorial really is, I'm not too sure. I'll flash it on screen how many different combinations there could be. But yeah, the combat is so in-depth, and they've really done a really good job. So if you're not aware, on the 21st, there's actually the demo part 2 coming out, which lets you control Cloud, not Yuffie, so Cloud, Tifa, Aerith, Barret, and Red 13. So you get 5 playable characters. You can only play with 3 at a time. So it will introduce us to the kind of party management system, where you can swap between them out of battle, choose whoever you want to while in battle, and be able to synergize with skills and abilities with a lot of different people. This is kind of in the Junon area, so we'll be able to see a lot of the scenery and how much open world there is, because the traversal in this game is really nice. You can go anywhere, do anything, and it's going to be nice to have the freedom to explore, much different to the remake where you're kind of confined to the streets of Midgar, not much space, and if you went to go off the beaten path, then you'd just be hitting with a warning, and then your character would automatically just walk back. But with Rebirth, it seems that you can go anywhere, you can do anything. The amount of different travel methods, so with chocobos and the buggy and then the tiny bronco later on, there's so many different opportunities to just explore and go anywhere where you can in the start of the game, which means that once you actually finish the game and get access to it in the entire world map, you can go anywhere and explore things that you haven't already seen. So the amount of content they've already put into the game is crazy. But sticking back to the demo anyway, so like I said, the demo comes out on the 21st, so I will be doing a video on that. I'll be doing a similar video like this, where it just kind of talking to you guys and explaining my thoughts on how the demo's actually gone. But I have high hopes for this next part, because this one just blew me away, and this is chapter 1 of the game. So I'm just thinking, down the line, when we see even more, it opens up so much imagination, it opens up so much hope about the game, and I cannot wait to get my hands on this next bit. So if you want to make sure that you're up to date with that, make sure you subscribe, turn your notifications on so you know when them videos come out. And if you like this video, it's a bit different to what I usually do, but make sure to give it a like so I know that you liked it. I'm also doing a remake series if you want to keep up to date with that. I'm up to chapter 15 at the minute, so I'm going to be releasing another video to try and finish that game as soon as, and if I can, I'll do the DLC before Rebirth comes out. So yeah, I recommend you check those out. I'll leave an icon card for that as well in the top right. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. So without further ado, bye bye.